Hello all, before we start today's video I have a super exciting announcement to make. I have partnered up with the awesome people at Makeship to bring you guys the amazing, official, name explained figurine. How cool is that? As you can see, it's an exaggerated cute version of my character with my big silly hair and my big silly glasses, which I can't get cut at the moment for some reason. But just imagine, you can have a mini me on your desk or on your bookshelf or fighting your wrestling figures. You may or may not know, but I'm a really big collectible / sort of figurine fan. If you watched any of my old videos recorded from my old bedroom, you will have seen it was littered with toys and collectibles and all kinds of stuff like that. So having a figurine of my own character is just a tiny bit mind-blowing. However, this guy's only available for a seriously limited amount of time, and he will only be made if enough of you guys order one within the next 2 weeks. So if this is something you think you're interested in, even just the teeniest, tiniest amount, you have to order one right away, because there genuinely may not be another time for you to order one. There'll be a link down below in the description and as a pinned comment as to where you can order your one today. Thank you once again to Makeship for making my childhood dream of being turned into a plastic figurine a reality. And thank you to all of you who order one. Okay, on with the video. The capital city of the United States is of course Washington DC, named in honor of the nation's very first president, George Washington. The DC part of this name means District of Columbia, named in honor of Christopher Columbus, and the city of Washington has this at the end of its name as a unique district unto itself, and not really a part of any of the states. However, Washington DC isn't the only capital city in this nation. The United States of America is a series of states that united in America. You probably didn't need me to explain that one, and each of these 50 states actually have their own capital city, and these are known as state capitals. What I find most interesting about these state capitals is that a lot of them probably aren't the city you think they're going to be. Well, if you're an uneducated person like I am anyway. Most states have a city they're most well known for outside of that state. Say the likes of New York City in New York State, Los Angeles in California, Miami in Florida, and Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. However, none of these cities I just mentioned are actually their state capitals. What are their capitals? Well, carry on watching and find out. So let's take a whistle-stop tour of the land of the free and find out how all 50 of these state capitals got their names. This will be an alphabetical order of the state names, and we have a lot to get through, so these are going to be very brief explanations. However, I'm not opposed to covering some of these names in more detail in the future in videos unto themselves, and I've actually already covered some in more detail. If you've seen the Capitals of Europe video, you should have a good idea how this video will play out. And also, yes, I know I haven't made a video about how all 50 states got their names yet. I know many of you want to see it. It's quite possibly my most requested video, and because of that I'm saving it for when we finally hit our main goal of $1,000 a month on Patreon. So if you want to see that video, then why not consider supporting there? Just $1 a month supports the channel in a huge way, gets you extra name and fame awards, and gets us closer to seeing that video. Now however, let's look into those state capitals, starting with Montgomery, the state capital of Alabama. This city was named in honor of General Richard Montgomery, a figure who became a war hero in the American Revolutionary War. While Alaska's capital of Juneau comes from the name of a Canadian prospector, Joe Juneau, who discovered gold in the area and persuaded fellow miners with drinks and money to name the area after him. While Phoenix, Arizona is named after the mythical Phoenix, a creature known for rising again from its own ashes, as this city was built on the site where an older settlement once stood. Arkansas's capital of Little Rock is named after a small rock formation by the Arkansas River. This name was initially coined by a Frenchman, so it was originally La Petite Roche. California's capital is actually Sacramento. This city is named after the Sacramento River, and Sacramento is the Spanish word for sacrament, as in the Holy Sacrament of Christianity. While Denver, Colorado was named after Governor James Denver by General William H. Larimer, who named it after him in the hopes of getting in the governor's good books. Hartford, Connecticut was named in honor of the English town of Hartford in Hertfordshire, named in honor of this town as the city's founder, Reverend Thomas Hooker, had an assistant from this English town. Delaware's state capital Dover is too named after somewhere in England, that being Dover in Kent, and the state capital of Florida is Tallahassee, which isn't named after a place in England but is believed to come from Native American roots, and it's thought to be an old rancid tribal town. Atlanta, Georgia was named by railroad engineer J. Edgar Thompson, and he even named it after the Western Atlantic Railroad the city city served as a terminus for, or after the middle name of a local governor's daughter, Martha Atlanta Lumpkin. Honolulu is the capital of the newest state, Hawaii, and the island state has its own language, Hawaiian, and in this language, Honolulu means either sheltered harbor or calm port. Idaho's capital of Boise has a name of French origin, with this name meaning wooded in French, as 19th century French hunters would trek down its heavily wooded river, which they called the Boise River. Springfield is a popular settlement name in the USA, and the Illinois capital has this name too. The name derives from the nearby Spring Creek River. Indiana's capital is Indianapolis, creatively named after the state it is in, with the Greek polis suffix meaning city. Iowa's Des Moines, however, has multiple theories as to where the name came from. It was initially Fort Des Moines, but the Fort part was dropped. The name is thought to either be a French corruption of the Algonquin name for the river by it, Moingona. It could possibly come from French meaning the middle, as it's between the Missouri and Mississippi rivers, or it may come from the Moine de la Trappe monks who lived in the area. Kansas's Topeka is too not entirely known. It apparently either means smoky hill or a good place to dig potatoes. Frankfort in Kentucky is actually a corruption of Frank's Ford, named in honor of frontiersman Stephen Frank, who died at a river's ford in this area. Baton Rouge in Louisiana comes from French too, unsurprisingly, and if you know your French you'll know this means red stick. The initial red stick of Baton Rouge was apparently a tall red pole adorned with fish bones the natives put up to signify the end of their land. The name in Maine that we need to explain is Augusta. This name comes from the daughter of Revolutionary War General Henry Dearborn, with her name being Pamela Augusta. Another state capital named after a woman is Annapolis in Maryland. This city is named after Queen Anne of Great Britain, and once again we see the Greek polis suffix meaning city. And Boston, Massachusetts is named after Boston, Lincolnshire in England. Michigan's capital of Lansing was initially just called Michigan too. However, this name was changed to honor John Lansing Jr., a notable statesman from New York. St. Paul, Minnesota was of course named after St. Paul of Christianity, and Jackson, Mississippi was named after American soldier slash statesman slash president Andrew Jackson. Missouri Jefferson City is named after a president too, that being Thomas Jefferson. Helena in Montana is reportedly named after a variety of things. I've read it was named after a town called St. Helena in Minnesota, the island of St. Helena, or that a miner called it Helena due to a woman he loved having that name too. And with Lincoln in Nebraska we have another capital named after a president, this of course being Abraham Lincoln. Carson City in Nevada is named after famed frontiersman Christopher Carson. New Hampshire's Concord has a name that came from a land dispute in the area. Once this land dispute was settled, the city was named Concord, as this word means an agreement slash harmony between people. New Jersey's capital is Trenton, and this name came from a corruption of its original name of Trent Town. This name came from William Trent, who was a key landholder during the formation of this city. New Mexico's capital has a name from Spanish, with it being called Santa Fe, with this name meaning holy faith in Spanish. The Spanish settlers in the New World gave a lot of their settlements religious names. New York State has the city of Albany as its state capital. This name came when the British took over the land from the Dutch and named it in honour of their Duke of Albany, with Albany being an old name for northern Scotland. And Raleigh in North Carolina is named after none other than Sir Walter Raleigh. Bismarck in North Dakota has a very German sounding name, and that's because it was renamed this in 1873 in honour of Otto von Bismarck, in hope to attract German investors into the city for their railway. Columbus, Ohio is named after you-know-who, and Oklahoma's Oklahoma City is named after the state it's in. Salem, Oregon, not that Salem, is thought to mean place of rest in a native language. Harrisburg in Pennsylvania is named after a father-son duo, both called John Harris. Father John Harris settled the site initially, and son John Harris laid out the city. Rhode Island's Providence has a religious meaning too, as this word means God's protective care. It has this name as it was named by settler slash minister Roger Williams. South Carolina once again has a capital named after you-know-who, as it's called Columbia. South Dakota's capital Pierre was named after fur trader Pierre Choteau Jr. Nashville, Tennessee was also named after someone, with that someone being General Francis Nash. Texas's capital is Austin, and this is named after Texas's most famous Austin, Stephen F. Austin. No, that isn't the Texan Austin I had in mind either. Utah's Salt Lake City is named after the Great Salt Lake, which is near to the city. Montpelier in Vermont is obviously a French name too, and this Montpellier is named after the city of Montpellier in France. Richmond, Virginia supposedly has a view to thank for its name. The story goes that a man named William Budd II named the town after the town of Richmond in England, as the view of the river here reminded him of the view of the Thames from Richmond Hill. So the name was applied to this US city. Richmond in England is now actually part of London. Washington State's capital of Olympia is named this due to the view of the Olympic Mountains that could be seen in the city on a clear day. West Virginia's Charleston was developed by Colonel George Clondenow, who named it after his father, Charles. This name was initially Charles's Town, but eventually got corrupted into Charleston. Madison, Wisconsin is named after President James Madison. And finally we have Wyoming and their state capital of Cheyenne, which is named after the Native Americans of the same name. And apparently this name for these people comes from French Canadian and means speak incoherently, which I imagine comes from the fact that the French Canadians were unable to speak the language of these people. And there you have it, how all 50 state capitals got their names. What I found most interesting about these names is the variety of origins. We have cities named after important people, cities named after places in other parts of the world, cities named after Native American words, and even a couple of cities that were named in the hopes they would get on someone's good side. The United States of America is exactly that, United States, but each of these states have their own identity and history, and this can be seen perfectly in the names of the capitals of these states. Thank you to all my patrons who support Name Explain on a monthly basis. Name Explain depends on small monthly donations from fans like you to help keep the channel running. Just a small amount of $2 a month helps in a huge way, grants you patron exclusive Name Explain extras, and gets your name here with all these awesome people. Thank you. Hello all, thank you so much for reaching the end of the video. Check out another video and subscribe to stay in the loop on all things Name Explain. You can follow myself on Twitter at NameExplainYT. Follow me there and tweet the name Barack at me to know you came from this message. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and once again, thank you all so much.